The mental health system is so fucking broken. It needs to be burned to the ground. It wasn't until I made that video about George Floyd and doing my protests that I really realized just how much racism had affected me, how much my attempt to avoid racism had affected me in Louisiana, where I grew up. And I don't think that the entire South is racist. Let me start there. I don't believe that the South is racist. I don't think the South can be racist because the South is a geographical location. I think that there are people in the South who hold racist beliefs and who express those beliefs through their behavior. But I don't think that the South is racist. In any event, growing up there, I would always do things that I thought would keep me safe. So that included dressing really nice. I want to say talking really well, but I think that's just because I read all of my mom's medical books and I didn't have anything else better to do. So I tried to speak really nicely, though. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Yes, sir. No, sir. Excuse me, may I please, if it doesn't bother you, sorry to bother you. I tried to make sure that I never wore saggy pants. That's one thing that I heard is that gangsters always wore saggy pants. So I made sure that I wore a belt. And it was very, very interesting because the way that I tried to dress to avoid racism or avoid negativity from white people seemed to draw that very same negativity from other black people that I was around. They made fun of me because of the pants I wore. They made fun of me because I tucked in my shirt. They made fun of me because of my collar. And I truly, truly, for a large portion of my life, grew to hate other black people, specifically black people that I assumed to look thuggish or black people that I assumed to just be not caring. Any black person that looked like someone who wasn't dressed nicely, who had saggy pants, who talked really weird, I already labeled, and I hated them. I hated them for a significant portion of my life because I got bullied by them. And so, on one hand, I have white people telling me how I look so well, how I sound so well, how I dress really nicely. And then I have black people calling me things like faggot, you gay motherfucker, you stupid act, like all of this stuff. And it was just very, very confusing, a very confusing experience. And so, when people ask me about my black experience, that's one way that I know I'm dealing with a liberal racist is when they say, tell me what your black experience was like. What the hell are you talking about? I just met you. Long story short, not long story short, because I got a lot of story to tell, but I do need to get back to my central point. I did not realize just how much my hair, oh man, I can't believe how long it took me to do something different with my hair. I used to always make sure that I had it cut very short and that I had a nice line and that I always presented in a way that looks, I don't know, professional, something like that. And I just, all my own self expression has just been destroyed because I thought that if I did these things, that white people wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't have to deal with racism. Whenever I got pulled over by cops, I turned into just the biggest, oh, I have no, you fuck it, the biggest bitch in the world. I was so submissive. I would try to keep my head, literally would not make eye contact. I'd keep my head down. I'd try not to talk louder than a whisper. I mean, I'd have my ID out. I'd make sure that my hands were at 10 and 2. I would do everything that I could to make sure that the police officer was comfortable because I was concerned that I would go to jail. And then on the other hand, you hear people saying this stuff like, well, maybe if they would have just listened, maybe if they would have just X, Y, and Z. And I think what happens is those cops, a lot of cops who got bullied by black people in school, let's just tell the truth and shame the devil. A lot of those cops see their bullies whenever they're pulling people over. And that's why I think they act that way. Now, maybe they don't. I did. I did. Whenever I was watching stuff, whenever I was seeing people getting shot, whenever I was hearing the stories, I would always think there's another side to that. What were they doing? What was going on? Why didn't they? I know that whenever I'm with the cops, I say yes, sir, and no, sir, and nothing happens to me. So I don't understand why it's happening to them. Maybe if they would just, and it's just, it's frustrating. It's frustrating because at the same time, I'm a very educated person and I know about systemic issues. I understand how people behave the way they behave, what influences that on that hand. And on the other hand, you had me not having empathy for, not as that I didn't have empathy. I don't mean it like that. It's not that I did not care. It's that I didn't understand. I didn't understand what they were going. I didn't understand. Like, I felt like my experience, in my black experience, as long as I speak nicely and speak well to the cops and dress and do everything that they say, I don't get in trouble. And when I do that, other Black people make fun of me. So obviously there's a problem with you. And it wasn't until just, I mean, maybe a few seconds ago, because I just put it together. And I think overall, I've been getting to the point that my entire behavior has been, what are white people going to think of me? All of my life, my entire life has just been, what are other white people going to think of me? Are they gonna think I'm my YouTube channel? I've been afraid to talk about schizophrenia on my YouTube channel because I was afraid of what other white people were gonna think of me. Schizophrenia is not just something with your brain chemicals. Schizophrenia is a message. It's a communication. It's something that's passed through families, through generations, and every single family where someone has a schizophrenic member, I promise you, we will find some evidences of abuse. We will find evidences of incest. We will find evidences of family stories that people are not telling. I promise you. I put my license on it. Put my license on it. And if you bring me a family with a schizophrenic member, there's some issue, and not just in the immediate family, overall throughout the entire family. I promise you there are some stories that are not told. You want to know how I know that's true? Because in the Black church, the Kojic church, it's full of sexual, physical, and emotional abuse. The Black church is full of rampant sex abuse. And because of the way that the Black church works within the Black community, no one talks about it. There are generations of abuse, of sexual abuse in the Black church. Generations in small Black churches, in big Black churches, there are generations of sexual abuse. You know how I know? My mom's going to come on and tell her story one day about how she was sexually abused in her church and how the entire community shunned her. So, I mean, but no one wants to talk about that. Nobody wants to talk about those things because it's not okay. It's not what I just need to get on here and just talk about positive mental health. I just need to get on here. And then at the same time, I have people upset with me. I perceive that others may be upset with me because I don't talk enough about the Black community. I don't do enough. And so living in this world, and I know I've gotten from my central point, I was talking about the way in which I have used to dress or used to behave so that white people would accept me. And you know what? It doesn't matter. The point that I'm making overall, 100% the point that I'm making, well, there's a lot of points that I'm making. Man, I just cannot stay focused on one thing. There's so much I want to say. If I go to a therapist, I wonder if they diagnose me with ADHD or mania. I'm just trying to see the mental health system. Oh, let me. This is it. This is how I need you to help amplify my voice. You know what? No. Not just my voice. Please help amplify my message. The mental health system is so fucking broken. It needs to be burned to the ground. The mental health. Do you know people still think that depression is caused by a chemical imbalance? Are you fucking serious? My job as a therapist is to come in and convince you that the environment that you came from is okay and there's something wrong with you. Fuck that. We still do electroconvulsive therapy, but now what we do is we give them a muscle relaxant so they don't shake so much, so we don't feel so uncomfortable. Do you know how much money a psychiatrist makes every single time they press that button? The mental health system is fucking broken. It's broken. You think police brutality? You hadn't seen psychiatric abuse. You haven't seen psychiatric brutality yet. Oh, I used to work at Swanson Center for Youth in Monroe, Louisiana, which was a juvenile correctional facility. It looked like a plantation, sort of, the way that they had it set up. And again, it was run by mostly African Americans. And now there were some plenty of white folks to have some blame going around, and we can get to them because they're the systemic folks. That's somebody else's battle. Please check into that if you don't mind. Investigative journalists, all of my Black journalists out there, man, I would love for you to just go take a trip to Swanson Center for Youth in Monroe, Louisiana. And just, maybe there should be some, other independent mental health professionals outside of the state that might want to go and speak with Correct Care Solutions, who provides the mental health services at Swanson Center for Youth. You know how many times I saw people just lie and exaggerate a child's behavior so they could get them on medication? It's terrible. It's terrible. Do you know how to ruin a black child's dream? Diagnose them with ADHD. That's all you got to do. So, or borderline personality disorder. If you can get them with that one, you can really knock out some black folks. If you are really a racist therapist, I've completely changed topics. That's okay, because this is who I'm really here for. If you're a super racist therapist, a super closet, covert, white supremacist, Nazi therapist, the best thing to do is when you get a black client, diagnose them with a personality disorder. Don't tell them about it. And then when that client goes to other therapists and you get their records transferred, the therapist can see the diagnosis that they have. And then all of a sudden, your therapist is treating you weird and you don't know why. Yeah, because they think that you're a literal demon because someone has diagnosed you with narcissistic personality disorder. The point is, I am so happy that we are at a place where Black Lives Matter, and let's keep going. That's the neutral ground. If you don't understand it, we don't have time to explain it. And here's the thing, I do have time to explain it. I am going to explain it. I'm going to explain it while dressed up as a literal demon at protests so I can find people who are out there faking. Don't like to use the word but, and I'm very glad that the societal consciousness is shifting. That is awesome. We need to move to Black Minds Matter. That's what's next. That's absolutely what's next. Black Minds Matter. And so I'm asking you, please help amplify my message, not my voice. There are a lot of voices out there who do not need to be amplified. And again, I can only talk to people in my community, and I'll get the other folks too. I'm just saying, for you see all the qualifications I feel like I need to give. Fuck it. There are a lot of black folks out there that are just angry, that are just mad. And it's okay to be angry. I get it. I'm angry at myself for the way that I used to be. And just because we are angry, you cannot be out here bullying folks. Can't be out here bullying folks, because there are some people who are allies who have generalized anxiety disorder. And I hate using diagnosis, but I have to use something to get you to have empathy for them. Please do not have empathy for people. They are people, they can change. Go check my past tweets. Man, I've said some messed up stuff. I have a video where I said racism is subjective and black people can be racist too. It is true if you define racism as treating someone differently because of the color of their skin. So either we need to change the definition of racism or see how it applies to everyone. The point that I was making there, though, is that language is, it is subjective. My subjective experience of racism has been when white people assume that I'm the help. I worked at a place, not gonna name it, I worked at a place and someone came up to me and they asked me a question, and the question that they asked, no, I can't do that for you because I'm a licensed marriage and family therapist and I'm here to see clients too. I went to Starbucks once. Going in, I was doing in-home therapy. I was going to see a client. I walked in and this white guy looked at me and said, "Hey man, you must be a football player." And it was such an odd statement. Such an odd statement. And because I have emotional regulation skills and I know how to reframe, I just said, you know what? He must just think I look real good. I have been working out lately, so I appreciate the compliment. I could have laid into him and been justified, been 100% justified laying into him. And yet another example. Yet another example of how angry black people get. So I'm not saying don't be angry, and I'm not saying not blow up shit. You express yourself however you want. I'm talking to the folks who claim to be woke with the YouTube channels who were trying to talk to others. You cannot, and that's why I made that. But go watch my video asking people how they feel about systemic racism. I came at that man all wrong. I came at him entirely wrong. I was ready for a fight. And you know what we call that? We call that attacking and defending. It's a very specific pattern in relationships. Couples do it all the time. Whenever you go to your partner and you attack them, the only thing they can do is defend. Why didn't you pick your pants up off the floor? Because, and then it sounds like a defense. So we have to be very careful, and it's okay to be at qualifications again. Because I feel like I need to, because here's the thing. I feel like if I really truly say what I feel like I need to say, I need to get everybody, even myself, I'm included. If I say what I really need to say, I feel like I'm gonna get canceled. That's the thing. I'm so terrified of getting canceled. So here's the thing. Cancel me, but don't cancel my message, because my message is that everybody, that all of us have the capacity to be evil. Right now, we're focusing on a specific form of it, and I'm very, very happy. We need to take care of it. And at some point, we need to pull that microscope out some. We need to pull it out some. We can keep it focused, but at some point, we need to pull back from it. And so I started this video talking about my experiences with racism, and now I am talking about how some people in the woke community are going to use this new power and privilege to oppress others with their message. And now, I think that's enough for 1,000 different lifetimes. So let me wrap it all together like they used to do in the Kojic church. Whenever you've gone too long on a sermon, there was a way to wrap it all together. So what you would do is say, hang on a second, let me get some water real quick. Mm. Whew, amen. Can I get an amen? Yes. 1 second. You know, the spirit is moving. Now, I don't mean that to be mean and make fun of nobody. I am going to correct that because, I mean, I'm not saying, you know, long story short, we need to have more conversations. Please amplify my message. Look at my YouTube videos, y'all. I'm telling a story. I'm telling a story. If you watch, if you read and look and see the videos I'm making, I'm telling the story. Please amplify my message because I can't do this by myself. I can't. We can't solve the world's problems having one-on-one dialogues like this. It won't work. Go watch me and my friend Profe talk about relationships. Go watch the way that her and I interact. That's how you have to do it. And you can have it doesn't matter the point of view that you had. If you interact in a way that's mutually beneficial, where you're both vulnerable, where you're both open, it's give and take. One person isn't dominating the other. And if you are, you're just having fun. You're just joking. Like it's just part of the if you man, we're all connected. I don't know how to say it. There's so many ways to say it. Long story short, please help amplify my message, not my voice. Amplify my message. I want to record me sitting down, talking to people that are racist, talking to people that are white supremacists, talking to people that have these views that we find undesirable. So how can you support me? I'm not asking you for money. I'm fine. I'm doing great. I have a full, thriving private practice. I don't need your money. What I do need is for you to subscribe to my channel. Please share a video with someone that you know and love and tell them to please do the same. That's it. That's it. That is how you can support my Black-owned business. And if you want to give me money, then find my email address, send me a message, and tell me specifically why it is you want to do it, what it's going to be for, and I want specific reasons. Other than that, subscribe to my channel and share a video with someone who you can think, and ask me a question. If there's someone in your life who holds racist views and you want me to I will make one just like this, and I will talk through that because we all have to commute. We all have to work together in order for this to work. So please amplify my message and not my voice. And if you have any question about what my message is, just look at the title of my videos. I'll talk with you guys soon. Bye-bye.